Oh man, like I'm really running shy on time right now because I'm actually working right now, believe it or not, and I have a couple deadlines to meet with some content for some outdoor apps launching. But here's a quick, very unnerving story I'll share with you. If this happened maybe 15 or 16 years ago, and I am in a it's a cabin, one-room cabin with a kind of a bunk room in the back corner and a wood stove, like a full-size heavy wood stove in it. I'm by myself, and so I'm by myself in this one-room cabin, and the layout is like there is a kind of a couchy bench up to the side I'm sitting on, reading a book, and the door is straight across the floor from me. Is the door. There's a window on the same wall as the door. There's a larger window at that wall in front of me. There's no window on this side of the cabin at all, and no window behind me. And I'm sitting on this couch, read a book by myself on this wall, and the wood stove is right behind me, full-size wood stove. Now when you get out of the cabin, it's wide open ground in the front, wide open ground to the right, thick timber to the rear, but a good space between the back of the cabin to the timber of about 10 or 15 yards. But on the right side of the cabin right here, only this far away from the wall of the cabin is absolute thick tangles of bush, you know, like 10-foot tall bush. I don't even know the name of it, but it's thick, it's nasty, and it's the full length of the cabin on the right side of the cabin. Now take note, with that thick, nasty stuff, there's nothing could fling itself at the wall through that thick bush, nothing. You couldn't. You know, if there's a deer running, throwing itself at the wall, something, just an example, if there's a deer being chased by a bunch of wolves or something, or a grizzly bear wanted to, they wouldn't be able to make it through that thick tangle to hit the side of the cabin. So I'm laying there, it's pitch black out. It's probably, I don't know, 9:30, 10 o'clock, late fall. Could have been earlier. And you imagine how dead quiet it is. Absolute dead quiet, reading a book. I have a rifle there. And all of a sudden, something absolutely slapped. And it wasn't a sharp crack, like if you had a big boulder or a hammer, you know, that sharp whack of a hammer hitting wood, or a boulder or a branch. It wasn't that sharp impact of a hard, you know, a dead hard surface. It was like a thudding slap. It was like meat. Do you know what I mean? The only way to describe it, it would be like a big frickin' hand. And whatever it was, it slapped the very top corner of the cabin, 8 feet up the wall, basically exactly above me, exactly right beside me. It slapped the side of the cabin so hard it shook the frickin' thing. The pipe for the wood stove behind me was shaking, and it shook the whole wood stove. I shouldn't say it shook the wood stove, because that thing's pretty heavy, but the racket that it made with the pipe coming down from the chimney and where it attached in the wood stove, it made the whole thing shake and vibrate. And I'll tell you what, you want to experience pucker factor, that was absolutely one of the most nerve-jolting, crap your pants moments, split-second moments that you could experience. It was absolutely ridiculous. And it did it, I think, 3 or 4 times. 3 or 4 times? 3 for sure, maybe 4. You know, because, I mean, you're getting over the shock of that first initial blast, and it happens again, oh my God. And then I just put the book down. I sat there, froze, thinking about it. I got up, I went and I got my rifle, I loaded it, and I put it right beside me, and just sat there. I mean, what are you gonna do? I'm not going outside. You could have paid me to go outside. I'm not going out there. And furthermore, you're not gonna see anything out there anyway. And I'm all by myself, and there wasn't a question in my mind what did that. And I'm getting goosebumps I'm getting total creeped out goosebumps right now remembering that night. And it scared the living shit out of me. And the ground's hard up there, of course, and you got a thick bush. There's nowhere to see a footprint out there. And you know, in the morning when it got daylight, I went out and snooped around, and there wasn't any tracks, and you couldn't really tell if there was any marks or muddy prints or anything up on the upper wall of that cabin. But But that happened, and that absolutely scared the living shit out of me. and it was very, very, very intimidating. You know, I've had, if you see some of my past hunt stories on YouTube, I've had grizzly bears outside of the cabin. I don't know how many times I've had grizzly bears try to get me. I've had to go after wounded game, wounded bears. I've been through a lot of those high stress moments that freak you out, but I haven't been scared shitless. You know, you're under control, you have a weapon, you know what you're doing, you know what it is you're dealing with. But when you're in a cabin that's basically getting shook on its footings, and the wood stove's getting shook from something slapping the top of the wall 8 foot up, where there's massive amounts of thick bush on the other side of the wall. And why I'm mentioning that is, you know, somebody might have said, oh, well, it was a deer came slamming into the side of the thing getting chased by wolves. I'm like, yeah, no, it's not even possible. Even if you're the biggest football player in the world, you wouldn't have been able to go back 20 yards and take a running leap and throwing yourself through the bushes to make that impact on the wall of that cabin right there. It's not even physically possible. But that happened. That happened to me, and then here I am sharing you the story. You know, it's unfortunate you couldn't have that recorded, the sound, or somebody had a video camera going at the time. I didn't even have a video camera back then, but oh, there you go. There's another one of my multiple experiences that I've had with these beings, and no, I didn't see it. No, I didn't hear its voice. No, I didn't have a video. But there is no question in my mind what slapped the side of that cabin while I was sitting inside there by myself reading a book, and gave me a slight heart attack. But anyways, stay tuned, you guys. I'll have more for you again eventually when I got time.